The U.S. President Donald Trump has returned from his visit to China after 2 days of talks with President Xi Jinping, which saw both sides trade praise and tout progress in stabilizing what they agreed is the world's most important relationship. And upon his arrival in Washington, D.C., Trump hailed the fantastic trade deals and said that a lot of different problems were settled, though no major agreements were announced before he departed Beijing.
All I can say is that was a great success. I made great deals with these great deals, we have great relationships, but a lot of things didn't happen, you'll be hearing about it. But that was a tremendous success. I think it really was a historic moment. Thank you very much.
What you got?
The U.S. and China have also not announced any major developments on issues like Iran and Taiwan that were discussed at the Beijing summit, despite Trump saying that he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping talked extensively about Iran during the summit. He had said that Xi agreed with him that a nuclear-armed Iran is a bad idea and that the Strait of Hormuz must be reopened. Well, Trump went on to say that Xi offered to help find an endgame to the conflict, but the U.S. president insisted he did not ask Xi to put pressure on Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, suggesting, and I'm quoting, he don't need favors.
I'm not asking for any favors, because when you ask for favors, you have to do favors in return. We don't need favors. We wiped out their armed forces, essentially. We may have to do a little cleanup work because we had a little long ceasefire, I guess you'd call it, but we have a blockade that's so effective.
Trump had also warned Taiwan against pushing for formal independence after he discussed the Taiwan issue with his Chinese counterpart in Beijing. In a Fox News interview, Trump dismissed the notion for the island nation to go to war with China, citing U.S. support as an excuse.
You're waiting on approving billions of dollars of weapons for Taiwan.
That's right.
Is that
I'm
moving forward?
Well, I haven't approved it yet. We're going to see what happens.
What are you looking for?
I may do it, I may not do it.
Yeah, what's your hinge point?
Well, I'm not going to say that, but I may do it, I may not do it. But we're not looking to have wars, and if you kept it the way it is, I think China's going to be okay with that. But we're not looking to have somebody say, let's go independent because the United States is backing us.
Taiwan's foreign ministry also took the note of U.S. President Donald Trump's remarks regarding the island and said that U.S. arms sales are a security commitment explicitly set out in the Taiwan Relations Act. Now, Taiwan said that President Trump and U.S. senior officials such as Secretary of State Marco Rubio have repeatedly reaffirmed that its long-standing and consistent policy towards Taiwan, which has not changed. Meanwhile, China has affirmed that it will continue to implement all agreements previously reached with the U.S. and will establish councils for trade and investment. Earlier, U.S. Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent had said that U.S. and China were in talks to establish a bilateral board of trade and board of investment. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that the delegations of the two countries reached overall positive results, including continuing to implement all consensus reached in previous consultations, as well as agreeing to establish a trade council and an investment council. Wang Yi also confirmed that Chinese President Xi Jinping will pay a state visit to the U.S. in autumn this year. The Chinese Foreign Ministry confirmed that an invitation for the same was extended by U.S. President Donald Trump. All right, to give us more details on this, WION's correspondent Susan Terani sent us a report from New York.
President Trump arrives in the United States from Beijing after a closely watched summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping that both sides described as productive, but without any major breakthroughs. The talks focused heavily on Iran, trade, Taiwan, and global stability, with President Trump saying the two leaders made progress in stabilizing relations between the world's two biggest economies. Xi, however, stood firm on Taiwan, warning that mishandling the issue could lead to conflict between China and the United States. Trump also said China agreed not to provide military support to Iran and expressed support for the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. While Trump promoted possible trade and agricultural deals, it's safe to say that the real outcome of the trip may have been symbolic, showing both countries are trying to avoid direct confrontation, even as strategic rivalry continues to grow. Susan Tahrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.